How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thank you.
Where are you talking from?
I'm talking from my office.
Where? Miami or New York?
I'm actually, right now, I'm in Jupiter. Yeah.
Jupiter. Okay.
Yeah. So Miami's one of my favorite cities. So I pretty much, but I live in Jupiter and I spend time in New York and I vacation as often as I can down in Miami.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah. So it's super cool. You're lucky to live there.
No, I'm very, very happy that I'm here. It's a great city.
Oh yeah. The best.
Very
International
good city.
fun.
I gotta just get here something here, a glass. Hold on.
Romero, I want to show you this. I don't know if you could see this picture, but my wife and I, after we got married, we met you in New York. You met a lot of people, but I was going to show you this picture.
Oh, fantastic!
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have that right in the kitchen. So whenever
Oh, that's
anybody comes
awesome.
over, oh, what is that? And I always say, like, Miami's one of my favorite cities. And whenever you come over the bridge and your sculpture's right there. When I walk down my steps in the morning, your picture's right there. So it makes me feel like I'm home.
Oh, thank you, thank you. Me too. Every time I come to Miami and I feel I'm back home. You know, I was born in Brazil, but this is home for me.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. I love, so this show, I feel like everybody's on a journey, right? Whether you're an athlete, whether you're an artist, we're all on our own journey. And I love to hear about sort of what it was like being a young Romero, what it was like growing up as a kid in Brazil, and sort of how you got this dream going to be what you are today.
I mean, first of all, I think it's kind of very hard to put all together in a few words, but I for some reason, I always wanted to know and to experience more. I was always very curious about how was outside of my environment, and I think because of my curiosity and I wanted to, and I, when you were a kid, and I think that's why it's so important to not stop dreaming. And a lot of time, people, when you become, when you turn to be a grown up, and then you start seeing the weight of feeling the weight of the world, like the pressure. It's like not necessarily somebody telling you do this, but the pressure come to you anyway. Let's say you go to school and then you feel pressure to wear the same way other friends wear, or or live a lifestyle of other people. The pressure's out there, right?
Yeah.
So not necessarily I was having the pressure, but I think all that make me feel more and more like I need to do something. I need to do something, and basically that's where all the young Romero from a long time ago was just dream a lot. I think it's very important to dream,
Yeah.
not stop.
How did you grow up though? What was it like? What was your childhood easy for you? Was it, how did you grow up? Because I'm with you. I think a lot of what we do in the future is based on how we grow up and what we see and what we envision, and what our dreams are.
Yeah, I think number one, I think so important, when you, how we grew up, I was very challenging, but I do believe that for any child, for any child, being born and being and having, a very beautiful nurturing, set up, family set up, parents, that are very supportive, I think can be such a big help for one. Of course that I am like somebody like probably I'm an exception for kind of the rule of what could be for a child growing up in a home where you have the mother, the father, a dog, a grass, a green grass, picket fence, beautiful everything, and then for you to be able to grow up believing that everything is possible, because that's really important for you to believe that everything is possible. You can be and do anything. So and that can be very inspiring. That was not my case, and it was very difficult. But one thing that for me was amazing is that I went to school, and I always believed that if the more you know, the better it is. And there was an opening, eye opening for me being in school, and I was able to definitely think and believe that there was more than what I was experienced in my life. And that's how, little by little, I keep changing my life. I still keep doing this, and I still believe on that. That there's little thing you can do that can change the way you feel about yourself and your journey. Like driving a clean car. My car drives better when it's super clean, and I feel better, and I feel like me. If I dress, if I put myself together, if I have my space clean, beautiful, my house, immediately if you wake up in the morning and look at your bed, it's beautiful, like nothing happens, amazing. Everything organized in place, like nature, like so beautiful, right? Everything works so beautiful. And then, and I think your day can be more beautiful. And then you can keep going, and you feel like, you can do more, and you can live more, you can be happier.
Yeah. No, it's funny. I was doing an interview yesterday, and I was talking to a woman, and I asked her, what are the 3 things that you need to do every day for you to feel great? And it's amazing. Like you said, I need a clean house. I need a clean car. For her, it was, reading the Bible, doing yoga, doing some meditation. And it's amazing how many people, they sort of just jump over those things, and they don't do the things that they need to feel great and to be great every day. So I appreciate you sharing those things here.
I mean, for everybody, you have different insight. For someone, you can have like a crazy, environment, and then your mind, and you feel like connect with spirituality and everything. But I do think that you can, if you have more harmonious, your space or environment, it can be more in harmony. I think maybe you are able to, to give more love, get more love, be more compassionate, be everything that, makes, everything else work, because I mean, again, I've seen this. I went to church, and people getting out of church, and they're like running at each other's in the parking lot.
Right.
I think there's more than one moment. There's so many moments of a day that makes somebody feel successful, or feel like I'm in the direction for success. Yeah. So many things.
So would you say that, as you describe yourself, you're a pretty detail oriented person?
I'm very into detail. Yes, I'm very detailed. I'm a very analytical person. I think a lot about things. I think a lot what I'm gonna do, what I did, what I'm gonna do, what I did, or what I'm doing now.
Yeah, no, that's cool. I think a lot of,
but at the same time, I'm trying to also. There was a point that if I forgot something somewhere in my studio, I needed to find it. Until if I didn't find that, I was not in peace, basically. Yeah. And then I started trying to relax a little bit. Like my studio is not like my house, but I understand it's a working space, and then I need to make sure that I understand that it can be that organized or controlled chaos inside of my area. It's very it's like I'm a living body. Every moment, everything. I can have a sculpt in front of me now. I can have a piece of art. I can have my phone. I can have this tape here. But then, and then everything is going to move. It can be like chaotic, but organized, and I know what it is. But I like things organized. I'm detailed, and
yeah. So that's interesting. I did want to ask you this, like when you're painting. I mean, I've seen your studio just in pictures, and you have a lot going on. Are you the type of person that gets an idea, starts, and then bounces to something else? Or are you the type of artist that says, hey, once I start, I'm going to finish this, I'm going all the way through? Or are you sort of working on a few different things at once?
I mean, I work in different things at the same time, because once one is drying, I do like in different stages. My work go in different stages. So there's a moment that I mean, I can get one piece and just focus on that one, but I can do work in many pieces at the same time because they are in development in different moments. Do you understand? I mean,
Yeah. It's a
I
process.
can. It's like, for instance, if you're gonna, let's say, you're gonna create a garden and then you need to put a tree, but that tree has to grow at a certain moment to put another one next to it, and then at the same time, while that tree is growing, you go into another one, and then when you come back, it's ready to put, like the pavement.
Yeah.
Do you understand?
I understand 100%. It's sometimes you have to let things marinate. It's a part of their process, and
Yeah.
then you can do other things. Now that,
Like, speaking about plants, I observe a lot sometimes when homes are under construction or buildings, because many times, like in Brazil, I wouldn't see that, but maybe now because I don't live in Brazil for so many years, but a house is not even finished and they already put the hedges. When the house is finished, the hedge is up.
right.
Do you understand?
Yep.
So many buildings, the building is not finished, but they have many floors with all furnished,
Yeah.
totally furnished, everything ready to go. But the building is under construction in many areas. But the interior of certain part of the building is done already. You don't wait all the way to the end to start putting the grass, the palm trees, and everything else. When those things can already be placed in there, and by the time the build is finished, you have a beautiful lawn and everything else is fantastic. The pool is done already. A lot of things happen at the same time, not waiting the whole thing. Okay, the house is over, it's finished, and now I'm gonna put the furniture.
Yeah.
You could definitely do finished moments of the house while they're doing, other areas. The kitchen could be finished by the time the garage is still working. You know what I mean?
Makes sense, man. Where did you learn to paint? Like where did that come?
I never went to art school. I mean, I never thought I would be an artist, full-time artist. I always loved art, but I never thought that this would be my daily, activity, that my daily drive, I thought it would be more like a hobby. I was thinking about getting a job to do like everybody else. They have a job, they go to work, they pay the bills, they take they have a living, they a way of making a living. So I never went to art school. I went to law school, and then I never finished law school, not because I wanted to be a lawyer. I never went to law school because I wanted to be a lawyer. I wanted to be a diplomat. And then, but when I was in law school, I was so miserable that I quit law school. And I'm so happy that I did that, because I would be the most miserable lawyer, you can imagine, because, I'm a very sensitive person, and everything that happened around me, I would be so miserable.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad that I made that decision. And I tell to a lot of young people, you gotta do something you love. It could be the most simple thing, but as long, you love what you do, because in the end of the day, that's what makes us, We can make so much money, you can make so much everything, but if you look at yourself in the mirror and you say to yourself, oh my God, I'm gonna go to that work that I hated. I don't like to be around those people. I'm so uninspired, and you feel that you're not really putting you 1,000%. You don't think about that place. You don't think about the people. You come home upset. That's not, and I understand there's millions of people, billions of people, they have to do that. And it's unfortunate, but it goes back to family. If you don't have a nurturing parents that tells you, hey, listen, you need to do something you love, not to tell you, hey, you need to be an engineer because that makes money.
Yeah. No, that's bad. That's bad advice. You hear that quite often. People sort of resent their parents at times when they get that sort of advice.
Where I am, what happened. It's not what I envisioned of my life to do this. So it's exciting to do something you love. I'm really blessed and grateful to do that. And I definitely, anytime I have an opportunity, I tell this.
Did you go to school in Miami or Brazil when you were pursuing?
I went to school in Brazil. Now, I always wanted to go to boarding school somewhere. Like when I was a kid, I wanted my parents to send me to Switzerland or to America, but mostly Europe, because they have a lot of boarding school, like Switzerland or maybe France or England or something like that. But I never went to boarding school.
So you went from Brazil and then
Brazil,
got to
that's
Miami.
it. Yeah.
And is that, where did you begin your artwork? Where did you begin sort of?
Well, since I was a kid, since I was 8, I always liked art.
Okay.
I was always very interested in art, but I like any kid, you know, like you like, but you don't know really what that means to you, you know. And as I grew older, I felt like I was always, you know, kind of drift to that side, you know, a creative side. And then one day I was like, you know what? I'm gonna quit law school and I'm gonna quit the Ethiopian diplomat and I'm gonna venture the world. I'm gonna see what happens. That's what I did.
So when you first started, you were not, you know, you were always Romero Britto, but you didn't have the statistics and the success that you have now. When you decide, I'm leaving law school, I'm going to become an artist, I'm going to go against the grain and the norm, like where do you start? I've read some things, you know, I started painting on newspaper. That was sort of how you began, but how did the journey start to become what you are now in the art world?
For some reason, you know, I always believe that things start installments, little by little. You know, I almost felt that I had to go through the whole process all over again. And I say that I was born again. I was kind of being born again because then I had to, you know, I mean, I had, you know, I just had to be born. I felt like that I had to go through all that. You know, for me, you know, was a little by little steps, but it was kind of scary in time, but exciting sometimes. And you know, it was, and I think it's very important that people understand that nothing happened like that fast. But we are in a time now that's very confusing because you see technology happening, everything's so fast, and some people think that everything should be like the story of Mark Zuckerberg or maybe, you know, so many other success stories that's out there. And some it's like that and some it's not. You know, some people have to kind of, you know, calibrate their expectation and then, you know, their hopes and understand that, you know, let's say business that, you know, some guys can go to a company and be the entire life in there and lose all their hair. And then this guy's Mutakan, the chairman of Coca-Cola, and then he retired, huge success. He got like huge legacy behind him as a successful businessman. But, you know, people had to realize that things doesn't happen all at the same time. You know, sometimes it takes their time, like wine.
Yeah. So how are you patient during that process? What are some things that you've told yourself through the years to stay focused and stay present, sort of as time is allowing things to happen?
Well, sometimes I told people that I forgot that I existed. Like, if you want something so badly, you need to forget about everything, even about sometimes yourself. Like things that probably a lot of people were doing because I got so many responsibilities so early. You know, like take care of myself. I got a son and I got family. I was like, everything that people are doing, I was every day coming to do my work. Focus on my work. That's it. Nothing else. That's all what I was doing. If I was like in the supermarket, I was supermarket, my art was with me. If I was in a bathroom, if I would talk to somebody, talk about my art too. If I would be in the beach, I'll talk about my art. Everything is all about one thing. And there you go. Do the same thing every day. And then you focus on that and there you go.
Yes.
I think you gotta focus because if I was trying to do all kind of stuff, like, you know, probably wouldn't be able to have done what I've done today. But there's so much more to be done. So it's not enough.
Yeah. Was there one particular piece that sort of was the one that got you to that next place?
Well, I mean, I have to tell you this. I got a commission from a company called Absolute Vodka. It was the best thing I've done because imagine if I was, so many artists are very against commercialism. You know? If you're very commercial, you sold yourself. And I was like, I really want people to see my art. I would love to do an ad campaign for a company. And then I did the ad campaign for Absolute Vodka. So that was an amazing opportunity for me to share my way with so many people. And there you go. That was it.
You know, I was actually, I have a question that I had written that I was going to ask you was, you know, how is, because I know the art world could also be very, you know, it can be closed-minded, like you said, oh, you sold out. Um, but so how are you perceived, do you think, by others in your industry? Because I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Well, I mean, I really don't. There was a time I used to care about how people used to think about me, but I care people closer to me. You know what I mean? In the end of the day, if an artist think like I'm like, because a lot of time you gotta be really secure about yourself for you to appreciate another artist. You know, because some artists they immediately if they're young artists, it's so like they may become like, why not me but him? What
Yeah.
he does nothing. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I cannot be listened to or a critic, an art critic. You know, most of the art critics, they're like they were artists and they become art critics. And they're gonna find something to say about your art. So I always focus on the positive things that people came to me. Of course, that I learned a lot with criticism. You know, I learned a lot with people that say something. I thought a little bit. I was like, oh, okay, let me think. Let's see if that makes sense. If it makes sense, I will take something for me. If it doesn't, I don't. Like for instance, many years ago, somebody graffitied my wall here in the studio. So I was first at shock, and I can't believe that somebody would do that to my wall because I did paint a little bit. I did some kind of, I did something outside my studio, and it was the first time I did that. And but because of that event, I actually developed a whole new thing about my work. And I thank this person that did that. I don't know who did it. There was a graffiti artist that probably was unhappy or jealous of my art or my success. But that person actually helped me to develop something amazing about my art that I'm doing now. And so many people are enjoying now, which is my art in a much more fluid way. Because I always like something so perfectly done. And then I decided about because of the way I did the wall, it was a need that I needed to cover all that mess that somebody did to my wall. And I did something like very graffiti-like. So it's a mix between the tight and the loose together.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Did that inspire? I know you have a piece of the wall, like that you've made of the wall. I guess it's outside of your studio. Is that what
Yeah,
inspired that?
yeah, it came out that all the many works that I'm doing now came from that wall,
Uh,
inspired on that very bad experience that I had. And there you go. Because sometimes bad experience brings something good to you too, you know. You
yeah,
just have to reflect and see, you know, what happened and what can I do better, and there you go.
yeah. I love that. It's sort of the message of staying open, being open to possibilities at all times.
Yeah.
No,
And
that
then really think about, because a lot of time we don't think about, and then you lose an opportunity to do something good or learn something good out of it. You know, what
mm.
happened.
How did you create your style? Because it's very unique. What, you know, who influenced you, and how did you sort of arrive at, you know, these tight lines and the colors and all that?
Well, I think I always like organization, and I always very fascinated about having like a more organized or harmonious space. And I remember growing up in my mother's house, and I always like to help around the house or garden or something like that. But one artist that I always liked his work was Roy Lichtenstein.
Hmm.
And then Keith Haring came to the picture. And I always love the characters of Keith Haring, the energy and the fact that you could see one remind many other ones. If you learn about one piece of Keith Haring, you could see from far away one. And you could say, that is Keith Haring. So these artists that are like, but I mean, so many other artists that are like from Jasper Jones, Frank Stella. I can go back to Picasso, Matisse. You know, I mean, so many Magritte, so many artists. I mean, amazing artists out there that's very inspirational. The story, their story.
Yeah. Do you spend time? Do you include some of their, I guess, styles in what it is that you're doing in each piece, or is it
No,
like how do you?
I mean, I think, you know, one thing is about inspiration. The other thing is about, you know, I've done work inspired by some of those artists, but it's not like I when I'm creating my work, I'm thinking about all the time. You understand? I mean, one thing's about inspiration that somebody can give to you, and you do your own thing. You understand? Like, oh my God, I love very much the music of whatever, but I'm creating a painting or sculpture. It's
Yeah.
just the feeling of it. And sometimes there you go. You understand?
I love it. Yeah. Well, I get that. Like when I walk into the gallery, it's not, I always say it's not just what I see, it's what I feel.
Exactly.
And that sort of energy comes through
Yeah.
all the paintings.
Yeah, exactly. And you can say, oh my God, you did like this thing here, but the inspiration was this. You
Yeah.
can like do like an omelet, and you say the inspiration was a friend of mine,
Mm.
or whatever. You can do. You understand?
Yeah. How do you stay creative? Is it just keeping that sort of exploratory mind? Like you said, when you're a kid, I'm always dreaming. Is that what continues to inspire new works for you?
Yes, I think that's very important to keep yourself, like open mind. The problem that I have, and it's not only me, but the whole world, is that we only have 24 hours a day, and we
Mm.
need to rest.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many ideas that I would love to be able to do it, but unfortunately, there's so much other thing that has to be done, so many other things that you end up not being able to just paint, 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 paint. Like since I arrived here this morning, I haven't been able to do anything but talk. You know what I mean?
I
So
got it.
I mean, that's one thing. I need to stop talking and be more creative. And that's one thing about the pandemic recently that I must say gives to me so much more opportunity for me to be able to be in my studio the
Mm.
whole day, no interruption.
Yeah. I'm laughing because I feel actually kind of good hearing that. I write books, and I always say, man, I spend so much time talking that I have just this much time to write the book, but I need this much time. But sometimes I do great work when I only have this much time.
Yeah, I know.
You
I
know?
mean, it's like a dilemma. It's a big dilemma there. Because sometimes you have a lot you can do, you know, you cannot do nothing. You have a lot of time, sometimes you just get lost with the time. But sometimes if you have a lot of
Yeah.
obligations, you end up being more very focused on those. And I try my best, I mean, of course, all my talking is all around my art. It's not like I'm gonna be talking about spend 3 hours talking about something that is unrelated. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Always related to what I do, my art. Yeah.
Yeah.
All my friends, I have a lot of friends, but most of the people that I know is out there, so this is somehow related to my work.
No, well, I also too, I imagine the work that you're doing each and every day, there's got to be some sort of therapeutic element to it when you're doing the painting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, it goes back to one thing. If you love what you do, it's not a job. It's like a lifestyle. It's a way of living. You know what I mean? Like you understand. If you're like a flower man, if you take care of, if you sell flowers and you love flowers, how beautiful it is for you to go every day. Have you been to Holland, to this area where they have all the tulips?
Yeah.
I mean, when you go in Holland, in that area where they ship tulips to the world, flowers to everywhere. I mean, what a beautiful job to work with that, right? Amazing. I think if you love it, I mean, the experience is so much more beautiful because it's feeling.
Yeah. I think it allows you to live a better life in that, you get to do what you love. You get to paint, right? And then I have a painting in my house that brings me joy. So what you're doing in Miami is bringing the world joy. Everybody that has your piece, everybody that walks into the gallery and sort of feels it, that's all coming out of where you are right now, which is
Yeah, thank you.
pretty cool,
It is amazing. I'm very grateful and blessed. I feel very blessed and very grateful to be able to do, art and do what I love. It's great.
Yeah. I have one more, but I have two quick questions for you. One is, what did you doubt yourself along the way when things weren't going at at the pace that you wanted them to go, or you thought you should have maybe hit sooner? Did you have any doubt or fear, hesitation?
I never, I always question myself and my art.
Mm.
Am I doing something meaningful, right?
Mm.
But it was never about timing, like, of course I have a sense of time and everything, but it was not like have to happen tomorrow. You know what I mean? I need to be successful tomorrow, but I just knowing the life story of so many artists is not only for now, it's for tomorrow. It's
Yeah.
not like what I'm doing today is not only for right now. Of course, I want things to happen, but it's not like I'm like putting like this huge, a lot of people think like I'm gonna be successful if I have like 10 jets. I think the most important thing is feel happy about what you do, because if you do a good job, money will follow, and things will follow to you.
Yeah.
But I mean, yes, I did question myself many times, doubts about my work. Am I doing something meaningful? But then you have to start understanding what you're doing, and then you say, you know what? First, you have to accept yourself, and then other. If you don't accept yourself first, it's very hard for other people to accept you.
Yeah. I
You
love
gotta
that.
believe in what you're talking about, and then you go. You could do like one line, and say, "Wow, I believe in this, and I love what I'm doing." My hand is a little bit like if your handwriting is kind of crooked, and you need to love that handwriting.
Yeah.
Once you love the handwriting, it's easy to make other people to love. But if you don't love yourself first, it's like that. What you're doing is a little bit harder.
Yeah. I love that, man. That's awesome. Well, I got to ask you one last question because so I'm a coach, right? I work with a lot of athletes who also, a lot of athletes, believe it or not, they love art. They love to paint. It's sort of therapeutic for them. But I call this show the Becoming a Champion show. So everybody that comes on, I say, what does the word champion mean to you as an artist?
Well, I think champion and success, all this hero or all this that is more into the minds of other people than the mind of the person who's doing it. Because you're doing this drive that you have, that this drive that you have comes like from inside, and maybe not, I don't, it can be developed. People can develop that kind of interest. But this is something that I'm not saying it's rare, but otherwise everybody would be doing what you do. We're all very unique, and I think, I don't know if I'm answering the question to you, but I think it's more ahead of other people, because as you're doing that, like somebody is a hero or somebody champion, like, they're just going through that journey like naturally.
Yeah.
But let's say Nadia Comaneci, that she became like 10, 10, 10, 10, everything she did. But I think that drive inside of her, she was not thinking about herself just being a champion. It was just like a drive that she got. I think the champion thing is more in the head of other people.
Right.
I think it's more than the champion
I like
idea
that.
in people's head. What do you think? I
Well,
would like to hear you. You are also, because you're a coach,
well, I love everything you're saying because I'm a coach, right? I'm in sports, but I'm in business. But I have a very, I have a creative side, and I love what you're saying. It's like, hey, you don't have to box yourself in. Honor all sides of yourself, and go towards what you're passionate about. And for me, when I write books that I know can help people, but I take it from here and I push it through with the words and the illustrations when I write kids' books. So I take every experience I have and funnel it into different sort of projects. And I use those projects to influence people in a positive way. That's why I always say one of my first stops is Lincoln Road when I go to Miami, because I get a feeling and it allows me to be better at what I do. And so that's why when I say I only have champions on my show. So you're a champion because you help me be better at what I do.
Thank you.
So that's why I appreciate that. And I appreciate your definition and how you look at the world, because it's very different than many people look at the world today. So many they come up with set goals. I have to be this by this time. And if I'm not, I failed. And then I go do something else. And maybe they left their gift inside of them.
Yeah. I think sometimes people like, I've seen like, oh, by this time I had to do this, by this time I had to do that, by this time. You had to be open. Now, when I go to trips, because of course, many years ago, I used to go to places or situations, and I would create in my mind that picture, and I would be very disappointed. And now I go more to open mind. I go more to like, if this happened, A, B, or C, or D. But open mind, may nothing happen, but you never know. You just have to go with the flow. Of course, you can't stop dreaming, but many times people, if they don't accomplish something that when they set those goals, they can be like a horrible crush.
Yeah, they get crushed. So, well, listen, I appreciate your time. I got to let you get back to your work. That's what you got to do.
Thank you very much. Nice to talk to you. I like the background, your background.
Thank you. I like yours too. I'll see you at some point down there.
Have you seen here, Lucas? Look at here. Look at this.
Lucas, good to see you. Yeah, we talked last week.
I know, amazing.
Yeah, I heard you got the beautiful new headquarters coming out too.
Yeah, please come to visit, okay?
I will.
And we do a broadcast from there.
Yeah, I love it. Thanks, Romero. Thanks, Lucas.